In the northern country of Hale lies the fertile valley known as the Fairelands. Over a decade, the world has grappled with the effects of a fierce cold snap known as the Shiver. While many countries face shorter growing seasons and food shortages, the relatively temperate vale of the Fairelands provides for Halland citizens. Unfortunately, for the people of this region, the land and its resources are highly sought after. When they're not defending their borders from invasion, they're catching their breath for the next attack. The last great war, over the glass sea, across the vast chasm, lies the country the Newfaires have come to refer to as Otherwhere. Though relations are peaceful for the decades, 1898, this distant power sailed their military forces into Hale Harbor to capture the agricultural resources of the Fairlands. This war lasted for roughly 6 years, and the Fairlands and its citizens have suffered immensely. Food and other natural resources allowed the people here to sustain themselves throughout the conflict, but it was the discovery and harness of electricity, first in Newfaire and then across all of Hale, that allowed them to push back the colonizing forces of Otherwhere. So is this not in our world? It said this was like our world. Like, I was expecting it to tell me where the city was. I thought this was going to be situated within our world. So is this just in a completely fictional world? It's telling us that it's like our world. Maybe then, but maybe not in our world. Is that the way this is? Because I was actually expecting this main city to be someplace to be historical fiction in our world. The Mercer effect? Oh, no, wait, that one. The deal breaker for me is this turning the Mercer effect up to 11. I want to roll dice as a GM2, damn it. Oh, is the GM not rolling dice in this? I didn't notice that. Is the Game Master not rolling dice? Because I know that's the problem with player-facing rules. The Game Master would like to roll dice too. Is the Game Master not rolling dice in this? I didn't pick up on that. Fictional world, Trey G says. Fictional world, but with a time similar to post-World War I world. Okay, so it's not our world. Okay, so I was looking for where the city was supposed to be within our world. Okay, so not our world. Over the glass sea, across the vast chasm, lies the country of Newfaires who had come to refer to as the Otherwhere. Though relations were peaceful for decades, in 1898, this distant power sailed their military forces into Hale Harbor to capture the agricultural resources of the Fairlands. The war lasted for roughly 6 years, and the Fairlands and its citizens suffered immensely. Food and other natural resources allowed the people here to sustain themselves throughout the conflict, but it was the discovery and harness of electricity, first in Newfaire and then across all of Hale, that allowed us to push back the colonizing forces of the Otherwhere. I think I read that. In the wake of their victory, the city, always a hub of immigration, suddenly flooded with war refugees. Though the population boom was daunting for wartime infrastructure, the cultural adaptations born from this time transformed Newfaire into one of the most vibrant cities in Hale. In the 3 years since the war, the country has restored itself, but like the wastelands of Westrek, the collective psyche is permanently changed. While some have adopted the electric live while you can attitude, others desperately seek restitution for the loss of an entire generation to the forces of the Otherwhere. The language of Hale. Many of the words found within this text are English translations of the Halen language. This is particularly apparent in the names of places. You'll notice that many regions and districts are called exactly what they are. For example, Westrek is the land to the west of Newfaire that was ravaged during the last Great War. Because the Fairylands were conquered so often and remain so divisively populated, over time, Halland citizens have found it easier to speak frankly. Simpler names ease translations in cities filled with speakers of different languages. To some, the directness of Halland speech is considered rude, while others find it trustworthy. GMs are welcome to establish their own Halland words. If you choose to go this route, we recommend that you draw from your own language and the histories and experiences that shaped it. While developing your own vocabulary, remember that respect for real-world languages and their speakers builds a safer playing space and encourages bolder exploration of the topics that your group wishes to explore. Okay. The city of Newfaire. Newfaire is a sprawling and diverse city on the western coast of continental Hale. Filled with technology that resembles your own during the turn of the 19th century, this civilization stands upon the ruins of its ancient alchemical predecessor known as Oldfaire. This place embodies the perpetual integration of the ancient and innovative that occurs within cities such as Edinburgh, Lima, New York. This place embodies the perpetual integration of the ancient and the innovative that occurs within such cities as Edinburgh, Lima, New York, Paris, and Istanbul. In Newfaire, citizens are nestled within the historic, brutalist architecture and recent evolution from Art Nouveau into Art Deco. Here, modern development consumes arcane history, and the players grapple with the great forces that rule the mundane world: the Ascendancy, Primacy, and Periphery. You think it's Fairlands? It could be. I think you're right. The Fairlands. Tomocrat says, if the majority don't believe in magic, the lands sure sound like magic is common. Okay, so it's Fairlands. All right, let's use Fairlands. Because I would have said that's Newfaire. You're right. Like that right there, I would have pronounced that Newfaire. So the Fairlands. I might have said Fairlands in the very beginning. So Newfaire and the Fairlands. Okay, Fairlands. The Triumvirate, the Ascendancy, the official religion of the Fairlands. They're led by the Ascendant, an official appointed from within the faith. They have incredible influence, and like other aspects of the triumvirate powers, they are highly corrupt. The Primacy, the central government of the Fairlands, led by an elected official, the Premier. Members of the Chamber work beneath them to make decisions for Newfaire and its surrounding districts. Though the Primacy claims to be a distinct entity, they collaborate closely with the other facets of the triumvirate. The Periphery, the police force within the Fairlands. In the wake of the last war, the Periphery inherited military technology that is incongruous with the supposed goal of interfacing peacefully with Hale citizens. The captain of the Periphery is appointed by the Premier, and thus they are seen by many Fairlands as the violent hand of the government. Oldfaire. Beneath the city of Newfaire, Oldfaire, that's clearly Oldfaire to me, so yeah, makes sense to make it. Beneath the city of Newfaire lies the mysterious ruins of Oldfaire, a place that was once a thriving civilization but suffered a catastrophic collapse around 2,000 years ago. Perfectly positioned within the safety of Hale Harbor and protected by the treacherous Brittleborn Mountains, Oldfaire operated with relative impunity in the ancient world. Led over time by empresses and emperors, as well as a council of powerful alchemists, the entire city attempted to utilize the magic in the way the Newfaire now uses electricity. The ancient city was built in a central power vault, like Ziggurat, where the government of Oldfaire attempted to house and utilize magical phenomenon. But the alchemists were ill-equipped to manage bleed. And remember, bleed is our magical energy, and the citizens were affected by the horrors that come from prolonged exposure to corrupting energy. Hale lore suggests that human minds and bodies transformed and society collapsed. Hale lore suggests that human minds and bodies transformed and society collapsed. The once powerful city of Stone fell when a local thinning was torn asunder. It was this cataclysmic event that tore a rift in the sea known as the Vast Chasm. From the seismic shift, a wall of water swept forth and first drowned and then buried Oldfaire, wiping its technology from the face of the world. So we have kind of like an Atlantis kind of thing with Oldfaire. Today, beneath the modern metropolis of Newfaire, within its tombs of the predecessors, magical monsters, alchemist discoveries, and mutated Oldfairean citizens still lurk. So on systems of power, the systems of power within the Fairylands, within the Fairlands. I don't know why that one strikes out to me as Fairyland, but within the Fairlands are designed to provide a scaffolding for the very human aspects of the horror genre. This is especially evident in the criminal speciality. This character type is the foundation of a person who, for one reason or another, finds themselves on the wrong side of an unjust policing system. When you play within Hale, craft both a hero and world that best supports the monsters you wish to defeat. Lighthouses. As Candela Obscura evolved throughout the ages, they attempted to find and secure the effects of bleed. When the investigators discovered thinnings, they built lighthouses containing magical astrolabes at each site to hold back the deadly forces from beyond the realm. Both ancient and recently constructed, these bleed-infested lighthouses are found all across the Hale landscape. For Candela Obscura members, they offer an ominous reminder that the ramifications of failure. For Newfaire citizens, they become a pinnacle of local mythos to warn the vulnerable away from danger. That's quite the turbo omni disaster, a bit overdone. Oh, the influence from his dark materials? Oh, it's been a long time since I have read that. In fact, I think I only read the first book. I really like a modernish setting that evolved from a fantasy setting. Earth or not, like the idea for Bright was great, but the movie was bad. So the Vast Chasm. So that's what opened up beneath the sea. This rift in the ocean lies between Newfaire and the Otherwhere. Torn into the sea during the fall of the Oldfaire, water now pours all over sides in a perpetual deadly fall. The terrifying currents around the chasm destroyed ships, And there's a Candela Obscura lighthouse. Oh, there is a Candela Obscura lighthouse within its depths. The faraway Newfairens refer to any place that is not within the Fairlands as far away. It is common to ask politely or otherwise if someone is from fair or far. Otherwhere. Newfairens use this name for the country across the sea, where Otherwhere attempted to colonize the Fairlands, and the last great war was 3 years ago. Relations with the people of this nation shattered. Though Hale was able to hold off invading forces with the development of electricity, this scientific development is spreading across the world and has brought a new fear of war down to the people of the Fairlands. So districts of Newfaire. And we do have a map here. I wanted to see a map. So here is Newfaire. Okay, so the chasm isn't all that far off. So we've got Newfaire right here, West Wreck. These are probably West Wreck, Hallow Harbor, the Shriven Line, Seaways. So Tottergrass over here, Scarlet Wood, Brideborn Mountains. The Vast Chasm is this Glass Sea is out here, but that's not far away from the sea. We got this the Stentoran River that goes down here, runs through the city. So let's just look at a couple of those. So what looks cool? Maybe we're talking internally here. Oh, landmarks of the Fairlands. So that's what this is. So the Brideborn Mountains. So this map doesn't connect to this page. This is the districts of Newfaire. So Silver Slip, for instance, the seat of Primacy, this large district reflects the opulence the government wishes to convey to its citizens. Those who ship Silver Slip will find courthouses. Those who visit Silver Slip will find courthouses, law offices, and some of the wealthiest businesses in the region. Let's see. These are the landmarks in the Fairlands. James says, or Robert says, great descriptions here. James says, this setting is fantastic. Neutromancer said, I also like a magic to modern transition and especially love the Art Deco and Nouveau periods of American designs. For instance, let's just look at a couple of these. So what is the Seaway? So that's up there, the Seaway. The small coastal village to the east of Newfaire. Here, structures are built to bend in the fierce winds that sweep in from the ocean. The majority of fishing families that live and work in Seaway have occupied this stretch of coast for generations. The Scarlet Wood. So over here, the Scarlet Wood. This ancient forest, famous for its vibrant red foliage. The trees of the Scarlet Wood produce a hallucinogenic sap, the alcohol and powder from which is prohibited across the Fairlands. Scarlet libations are the foundation of a thriving bootlegging industry. What is West Wreck? The war-torn land to the west of Newfaire. The area marks the last stand of the war before Hale drove back Otherwhere with electric advancements. West Wreck is well known for the proliferation of landmines that still pose a threat, and travelers must hire a local guide to lead them through.